Welcome to Spring LIB.
All right, so this question is basically asking for your ability to remember all of the different types of photosynthetic organisms and what types of environments they thrive in, and then whether or not a lake or a river would be a good fit for them. So let's start out. First of all, our first option is fungi, which we can go ahead and cross out because fungi are not photosynthetic, um, which makes our answering this question a little bit easier. Our next organism is phytoplankton. Phytoplankton are, tiny organisms that can photosynthesize, take light in, and convert that into chemical energy, and they live in aquatic biomes. So yeah, those are definitely on the table. Our next two options are moss and lichen. Moss is basically a plant that tends to grow on rocks and on sort of logs and trees. And lichen is actually a combination. It's like a relationship between an algae and a photosynthetic organism. And they tend to also grow on rocks and trees and basically anything like sort of sticking out of the ground, kind of. Um, Now, based on these descriptions, let's also think about what life is like in rivers and in lakes. Uh, Lakes and rivers will both have sort of like rocks and trees and surfaces for moss and lichen to grow on. That's pretty much all they really need. They're not going to be, growing in the bodies of water themselves, but they'll be, hanging around here and stuff. Now, phytoplankton are interesting though, because they tend to require, somewhat of a stable environment so they can actually float around and take in sunlight. And usually, now phytoplankton can grow in rivers, but most of the time, the current is just too swift for them to actually like survive and take in the energy they need. Um, so most phytoplankton are in freshwater biomes are probably going to be found in lakes and not in rivers. So that means that our answer is B.